All right, we are here at my Vermihut indoor worm bin, and you can already see from last time that the newspaper on top has deteriorated even more from the worms starting to attack it. Today I want to look at 3 food items that we had put in last time. One was a mango skin that had a lot of flesh on it. The next one is a whole banana peel that was in 3 parts and also had about a quarter of banana in it. This is really delicate, this paper here. And the last thing that I wanted to look for is a couple of pieces of celery ends that we had in here. Just kind of want to see how they're doing. And this right here is the feeding zone. I've got this small piece of paper to be the indicator, but we will jump right in here, and I see a little worm tail hiding in and a little sprout popping up from a previous feeding. So let's go ahead and dig in and see what we can find. And already all kinds of worms going all throughout. The moisture feels great and it's cool to the touch. This is indoors, so somewhere around 70 degrees. This right here, I'll pick them up, is a red wiggler, and I can tell because, well, he's shrinking down a little bit, but you get to see a little bit of the orange of the tail, but also his clitellum right there is bulging slightly, which is much different than the blue worm, also called Indian blue, which is completely flat with it. They're smaller worms and it's completely flat. In fact, I'll put them right next to each other so you can see the difference. But here's the bulging clitellum, and then here, you probably can't even see it. I can see it, it's right there, but it's not bulging. This guy's a slow mover, this guy's much faster and bigger and smaller. So there you go if you're ever wondering the difference between the two. And I have both in here. There's probably more blue worms than red wigglers, but they're all throughout, which is fantastic. So let's keep digging. We'll go through the edges, then we'll come through the middle, and then we'll go through the side. Now, the last time we were in here, we were looking for a lettuce head because we did a lettuce head experiment, and one of the things I did there was I froze that lettuce head. So when I put it in here frozen, it seemed really sturdy. But, when we checked it 7 days later, which was last feeding, it was completely gone. Not a single sign of it. So they had devoured it. And I like to freeze my food for that very reason. Whoa, check that out. We're not even in the feeding zone, and there are just absolutely tons of worms. Both kinds, blues, red wigglers. They are just all throughout. And this bin this tray is 46 days old, and you can definitely see a difference between when we started and now as far as castings and the pieces of cardboard breaking down, that kind of thing. And it was 7 days since we were in here last. That's kind of the average that I'm looking for, is getting in here every 7 days. And these worms themselves are 260 days old, at least the oldest worms are. Whoa, okay, now we're getting into the feeding zone. Now we're seeing some worms here. There we go. Oh, and here is the mango seed. Whoa, not mango seed, but mango peel. Check that out. They really got in here. So they are definitely enjoying it. And you can see I kind of cross-hatch when I get the mango flesh off, and here is a little clutch of mites right there, and it is decaying and the worms are coming in eating it. This is great. And then I also see part of that banana, just the peel of it, a little bit of flesh, the fibers really of it. So jackpot, right away we find the mango and the banana. And this is the stem of it right here, barely attached to the rest of the peel right there, with just a little tiny worm ball, or a clue, I guess that's what they call them. But those look like blue worms right there. I can feel them crawling through my fingers right now. But that is great. I I like to have just enough food in here so that I'll get a good worm bowl, but I also want to see them kind of devour it. Now, banana peels and mango skins I expected to be in here for sure, just letting them eat away the flesh. So let's keep digging in, and here is some of the bedding that I put on there, and it is very dry, very dry. So we're gonna make sure that we mix this up pretty good so we get the bedding all mixed around. Oh, there you go, look at that. Look at all those worms. Red wigglers, I see some red wigglers, they're the fatter ones, all kinds of blues. More red wigglers right here. So they are all in. So for some reason, they really like corners. I don't know why. If anybody knows, they can certainly comment and let us know. But I don't know if you can get a good view, but right in this circle, just tons of worms. They keep kind of digging around. We're really gonna kind of spread the feeding zones. You get the feeding zone, and then I like to keep feeding here, but I want to spread everything else, almost like a regular compost pile. But I want to spread that food around so they've got at least the little parts. So they've got areas to attack the little stuff, and then when I put down the feeding zone, they've got it all right there. Certainly when it's spread out, they've got more surface area to attack it, and then when it's all in a bunch, they've got to penetrate it in order to get to it, to feed on it. But let's keep digging here. We haven't got through here, and very cool to the touch. Here it was more, not warm, but warmer than the cool areas over here that didn't have any food. So let's keep going. Aha, here we go. There is the piece of celery. It looks to me like they kind of attack a little bit right here, and nothing going on the hard fleshy surface. And this was not previously frozen. So that's a good question. If I had frozen this, would they have gotten to it better? Because this is, I mean, I can probably crunch it. I don't know if you can hear it. You could probably hear that. So yeah, this was definitely not frozen. So that's good. We'll keep this raw and see how long it takes them to get to it. And let's keep going. And if you like this video, I've got 3 playlists, one for each of my bins over on my channel. So if you want to subscribe, ring the bell, you'll get notifications. But that way you can follow along through all my bins from start to finish castings. This is some of the, oh, here we go. Here's some more of the banana. Just kind of set that maybe against the, let's see the contrast of the worms just kind of wiggling through there. Yeah, we're in the feeding zone. So they're going to be all through here. Oh yeah, big fat red wiggler compared to the smaller blue worms. This is good. This is probably the kind of the best, you know, feeding where we've seen both real well through here. All right, let's keep going. Now the volume of this is good. Again, man, just chunky fat red wigglers. The volume of this is looking good. I don't need to put as much shredded cardboard in here, I don't think. But we're gonna keep digging. I'm almost through, and then we'll set the feeding zone. I'm probably not gonna feed as much, which is something I always say, and then I end up feeding way more than I expected. But this feeding, they're taking a little bit longer than usual. Again, look at this. They're all through the coffee. This is this really black stuff is the coffee, and they are all through it. But yeah, I always, oh wow, oh shoot, right here. Look at that. I'm just gonna sit here for a second so you can see them just go wild. That is awesome. A bit of a worm ball right there. Oh yeah, look at that. It's like spaghetti. And they are obviously swarming something. I think it is probably that banana, because here's the peel. And there was a chunk of banana in there. And right there is just, I think they're just devouring it. All right, I'll kind of leave that right there. I'm looking for one more piece of celery. This is from a couple feedings ago when I harvested the bottom, and that's a egg carton. But I was looking for one more celery stalk. It's a little bit smaller, and it may have been frozen, I don't know, but wow. Just this bin is just teeming with worms, and cocoons for that matter. I can see them. I don't know if you can see them up close, but all right, what a mess. So we are going to set the feeding zone. Here is again another piece of that mango. Oh, I must have grabbed it in here. You guys probably saw me thinking I'm crazy as I'm touching everything 3 times. All right, so let's set up the feeding zone right here. Try and get some of this bigger stuff, because as you feed, it will wet down the paper, help it decay, and that helps out the whole process of feeding the worms. So let's add some paper, not quite as much as before. And then we'll start in with our food. Here's what I brought. I don't know how much of this I'm going to use, but we'll see as I put it down. We'll keep going with the whole banana peels. Those are always fun. A little bit of apple there. Some grapes, which previously frozen. I'll try and break them a little bit just to help them get in. And the grape stem, which we're going to be revisiting that thing over and over again. Of course, strawberries. They absolutely love strawberries. Carrots, which I've been surprised how fast they go. And these are, everything in here is previously frozen. There's a tomato, which I don't put a lot in. Some lettuce, definitely some more apple cores. Always good for a worm ball if you get it in time. And we've been eating a lot of apples and bananas, so I have a lot of apples and bananas. But that, I may just do this much, and actually I want to put a little sweet potato in there to see. Sweet potato, and it's frozen, so it won't try and start growing or anything. But let's just go with this much for a feeding and see if that satisfies them. And then from there, we will be able to assess how much I need to continuously feed. I always try and come in every 7 days, no matter what, just to make sure that everything is going well with the bin and I don't have any trouble spots. And then from there, I assess how much I need to feed. Certainly when it's younger, you really want to feed a lot less. And actually, here's something else I want to try. Plant Obsessed had put a plastic bag in that had some leftover food, and she mentioned that the worms will clean it. So I'm going to put this in here too and see if the worms clean it out. Because there's just all kinds of spinach and stuff like that in there, and I think they'll be able to get to that. So that'll be fun to come back and look at. But yeah, we'll put our grit down. But yeah, I just come in and look at it, and if there's too much food left over, I'm not going to feed as much. So this started with about 2,000 worms. I estimate there's somewhere around 3,000 to 3,500 in here now. So they definitely can attack this. And right now, this has 2 trays on it. So they can go up and down from the 2 trays. And I may do something a little different with this the next video. But we'll have to wait and see. I've got to do a little bit of research to find out if I want to do it. And it involves putting another tray on, but not in the way you would think. And I forgot to put that in there, so I'm just going to dig that down. But we're just going to get this buried up. And then I'm going to put on that newspaper that is barely hanging on by a thread. We'll see how that does. I expect that to go down pretty quick. They seem to hold up, and then all of a sudden they just disappear. And usually when that happens in the past, it meant that I had not fed them quite as often as I needed to. But with this starting with so much cardboard, I don't necessarily think that's the case anymore. I think it's been in here for a while, it's decaying, so they're able to munch on it. But it is pretty neat. You can see just the shredded ends, and even the middle, just them kind of taking little pieces of it, little chunks of it. And of course, we'll do the feeding zone indicator right here. And that will about do it. We updated the mango skin, the celery, the whole banana peel, and we put some more stuff in, a little bit of a lighter feeding. But all in all, good feeding for this Vermihut indoor worm bin tray 4. Hope everybody's having a great day, and happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now.